Hey, Eric wants to know if we listen to music when we write. And I, for one, never ever stop listening to music. In fact, a lot of my writing is inspired by music. I don't get inspired by lyrics. I don't hear a lyric and write a book about a song. But sometimes the music or the arrangement or the rhythm of a song will evoke a certain feeling. And then I start coming up with scenes that will go along with it. Here's a kind of scene that this will be a perfect soundtrack for. And then I can't get out of my head. The book I'm writing now was heavily inspired by a song by The Frames called None But I. And none of the words really directly, could possibly reference what I'm writing. But somehow the feeling of it just wouldn't get away from me. I listen to a lot of music, and a lot of it is what you'd expect from me, like a big nerd listening to dorky songs about fantasy creatures. But it really does make me enjoy writing, and it really does add a lot to it. One of my favorites is, of course, Led Zeppelin's fourth album. I'm sure I didn't have to tell any of you this was Led Zeppelin's fourth album, with a mystical hermit on the front. He's a classic figure from tarot mythology. A lot of their music is really just fun to listen to, but it's also musically brilliant. It's also thematically fascinating. It includes lots of mythology, lots of interesting storytelling, and sometimes battles between mystical forces. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't listened to the Oh Hellos, I highly recommend it. Their stuff is so evocative and so energetic and powerful. It'll put all kinds of images in your head that you just don't want to live without. And I can't not want to write when I listen to their music. Robert Plant, of course, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, and I didn't have to tell you that either, did I? He's sort of a frustrated fantasy writer, I suspect. Has lots of very beautiful and interesting images throughout his work, and always tells these stories that could be a book. And I've, always wondered if he's got all these books in his head that he tries to turn into songs. But they inspire me, so they're, at least helping me out. And then, of course, their first album, which is amazing. I love listening to the music of Kansas. Kansas has some songs that are amazing, very creative, and no one else does what they do. And sometimes the imagery is just way out there. It kind of gets weird. I've got some Pink Floyd I listen to. It's the same way. It's pretty strange, but it can really put your mind in a place where you're seeing things a little differently. And sometimes if I don't want words, most of the time I can write along with lyrics, even though some people can't. But sometimes I don't want that. So I listen to some jazz. And if you don't listen to jazz, this is a good one. This is a good way to get started. You can take a good jazz album, listen to it over